The first symptom of my Nissan Navara's head gasket failure was the hot air inside blowing cold. This led me to inspect the engine bay, and I found a pool of water on the front right corner of the engine block underneath the pipe connected to the radiator. I then checked my bottles and noticed that half of my fluid was gone, so I had to top that up quickly to ensure I could do the quite long drive to see my friend Tom, a very skilled mechanic who works on heads and gasket repairs all of the time. We double checked the pipe above from the radiator and did reseal it just in case that had been leaking and causing the splash, but unfortunately it wasn't. Little blackbird going. Anyway, a bit of an update on the Navara, guys. So after doing the pipe repair on the engine block where there was a little bit of a leak, there still looked to be a coolant leak around the head gasket, so that's a bit of a no sore subject. I'll try and film as much as possible. I'm going to be changing the radiator, water pump, thermostat, new head gasket, so yeah, be a good clean of the engine, and should give it a good new breath of life, to be honest. So the engine bay is pretty damn filthy at the moment, and what we're going to start by doing is actually taking off the grille area just so we can get a bit more working space, take the radiator off, the aircon condenser, and we can have a bit of a view straight through. So I'll update you as that goes ahead, and obviously once we start getting into the engine work, I'll bring you a bit closer and give you a few little guides and tips and tricks and what not to miss. We'll get the intercooler, aircon condenser and radiator off, and the old air horn. So we're using the filthy back storage area just to store parts from the front. So these little pots which are just singled out for individual components. So that's all the grill bolts and nuts and plastic clips. That's the intercooler covers. Then we'll have another pot for the intercooler bolts, etc., and we'll just keep working our way across. So it's just a way of keeping things organised and making sure they don't go missing, really. Looking forward to getting this repainted. I'm going to be doing the Raptor lining in the back here. I'm also going to be painting the chassis, so looking forward to that. But anyway, onto the front. Let's see what's going on. You're just getting the intercooler off. No, that's fair, I'll come and give you a hand, buddy. The aircon pipe disconnected. So you can probably notice, guys, the coolant in there is pink and the actual coolant colour should be green. So I'm replacing it once we've done all this work with the proper LT48 coolant, which is a green colour. So that may have caused a bit of an issue with acidity, but who knows. This was fresh stuff I put in last week just after topping it up, so that was because until then it had pink coolant in it. So we've got a bit of rain coming in, so hence the intermittency in filming, but we've got the radiator and aircon condenser loose and the fan shroud off, but we've actually got to remove the fan. Tom was saying to be able to lift the cover off, so Tom's just going to do that now.
Wiggle it out.
And
I don't think that's going to come on.
So these are really awesome little pots that Tom's got, and they're magnetic, so you can just put the bits in and they won't bugger off when you knock it, inevitably. So it's quick. 2 down, 2 to go. You can see it's an awkward space, so Tom's just having to use a hand spanner to get in there. Right, so just got the fan off. So we're keeping everything in the back of the Navara at the moment just to keep it nice and dry. We've got the intercooler there, which is absolutely filthy inside despite my catch can. So I'm going to give that a good swill out with petrol. Good tip. We're going to give everything a really good cleaning including these silicone hoses. This is for the intercooler, and this is on the cold side, so the cold pipe. But it's made by MK Performance Hoses, and they're a company local to me, and they make all sizes of silicone hoses for performance engines. So I approached them when I got the truck because I wanted to replace the rubbers. So like I said, we've got the fan off, and that now allows us, if I bring you round the front, the rain's just seized a little bit, which is absolutely perfect. But that allows us to take off the radiator, which you can see is now loose. So there was these two plugs connected to the radiator, and this is the radiator overflow pipe, which we've just tucked out of the way here, and that just keeps it nice and out of the way. So as you can see, that's given so much more room to the engine bay. I don't think I've ever seen it that empty. I wish I could say that way. But regardless, we're going to be then, I guess, starting to take airbox off, hard pipe, turbo, exhaust, drop that, EGR off, everything else. Lots more to come off, but I'm sure I'll keep you posted along the way for any kind of important bits. So there's the two 12mm bolts for the EGR. There's the blanking plate, as you can see, that's been blocking off on that side. And that side is pretty oily.
We'll probably go for this one then.
That's from Leroy. What's that, the on the EGR? Yeah, on this side it's quite tough to get to. So we're just about to take the EGR off, but there's a bit of a troublesome bolt under there, so we're going to get the air gun. We've taken it off on this side here where the blank normally goes, just blocked up that where the intercooler pipe goes, and then we'll start removing this side down here, which is a little bit more tricky to get to. But first we've got to take the turbo off. We're going to leave the airbox in situ. We're going to start by taking this off, so remove these Jubilee clips, take that air pipe off, relocate the vacuum pipes, crankcase breather off to the catch can, turbo off, manifold. So where we've taken the EGR off, I've put the blanking plate back on with the nuts and the bolts, going straight back in. We've done that with everything else. We've put the nuts back on there, we've put the bolts back in where the hot pipe and the turbo pipes go in, the EGR, everything. So we know exactly where everything's going to go, and when we come back to reassembly, we know where everything is, and it's not just kind of laying around. So yeah, it's going well. A lot more room to work in here now. What's the next stage, Tom, do you reckon?
I'm going to take a few bits off the head to make it a bit easier. We'll get this bracket off.
Nice. So as Tom just said, where we've taken off the aircon here, we're going to tape these up just so we don't get any crap in there. You can see we're going to now take off the turbo. So this is where the air cold intake pipe goes down. This is turbo. Crankcase breather, normally that would be connected to this, but mine's going in line to a Provent 200 catch can. So that's coming down here. So this will come off. We can give this a little clean, inspect the turbine as well. Leave that connected to the manifold and exhaust. Then we'll disconnect the exhaust. Potentially take off the manifold. I think we're going to take off the manifold just to reduce weight, because we don't want to be taking off the head with all that extra weight of these cast bits on. So probably take that off. These have all been off before when the exhaust came off, because unfortunately a bolt snapped here on the back of the turbo, and then I had to take the manifold off and the manifold bolt snapped. So these have all been off, so it should be fairly easy. So we'll update you once that's done. Like I said, I probably won't film all of it, but you'll see the stages on what to get off and where. So you're just taping up the ends of these. Stop any crap getting in them. He's got a rubber glove. I like that. Good idea, Tom.
Don't put them on my hands. I'll just go around it with tape.
Good idea. Jim Bob's well and truly stuck into the engine bay there. Working on this turbo and manifold area now. in preparation. Just getting the oil return pipe off of the turbo, which is quite hard to get to. It's just accessed through the wheel arch and above, combination of the two. These are my filthy upper control arms and PSR. But yeah, once this is off, just taking off the down pipe for the exhaust, and then we can take the turbo off and really start having a look. You can see some of this splashing down here where the coolant's been going, so definitely a bit of a leak somewhere. Interesting to see what's been going on. So we've got the turbo off, everything's blocked off just to make sure nothing gets in there. We'll obviously give it a good clean out. It's going quite well, so we'll have a little look. A lot more room down there now. Got the manifold off, and you can see there's a hell of a state down there of coolant.
That's where you found start going.
So obviously up here is a bit higher on this corner of the head is where the water was ingressing, or where it looked like it was leaking from, so it's probably been pushed back. That's why I'm getting all this splashing of coolant over this time. It's probably been happening for a little while, and like Tom was just saying, water doesn't travel upwards, and of course I'm driving forward, so anything would be forced back. So definitely looks like it's a head gasket leak when you look at that. So glad to have caught it now, so we'll block up these holes and then have a little break.
And then we'll do the same that side, same at the front, and then we're off.
Yeah, nice buddy. Good job, Tom. Manifold is off. Manifold gaskets have been taken off. Turbo exhaust has been dropped. So that's pretty accessible that side now. So it's a case of doing the same on this side, and then removing the head, timing chain cover. Obviously all that's got to come off before that comes off. So Tom's just disconnecting the engine loop, and we're going to fold it back over this side of the manifold just to give us some space to work on it, because we can't access it with it there. Just taking all of the injector plugs off and the pickup sensor at the back. Peeling this engine loom back, which is a nightmare. Got the negative disconnected on the battery just to prevent any shorts. So that clip there, which is from the loom, is actually, you've got to push the clip in
That's on this one.
instead of the tag. So you've actually got to push the green tag in,
It will come back out when it's
and it,
pushed
yeah.
together.
So once they clip in, they lock out, that springs back, so you've actually got to push it in towards the grey plastic clip to get that out. That was a nightmare to figure out. There's now a case of getting the vacuum pipe off, is it?
Yeah, just a little.
Vacuum breather.
It's a bad to push it a lot.
Good job. So by the looks of it, we might have to leave the manifold on, but we're just going to test it, because there's a few pipes which are just playing silly buggers to get off. So that was the awful culprit to get off. So if you can imagine, this was over the manifold on this side, so this pipe down here is an absolute bastard to get off. So I'm going to go put that in the back. Just started absolutely hammering it down here, so I thought I'd take it as an opportunity to kind of catch up with you guys on camera. Obviously it's been a little bit choppy, so I do apologise for that. It's a little bit of a hard thing to film actually, doing all of this, because there's so many points where I need to get involved and help Tom out, and you know, just don't have time to get the camera right. So yeah, while Tom's just working under the bonnet, he's in a bit of a good position there actually, completely covered from the rain. So yeah, what he's doing at the moment is just starting to get the inlet manifold off, and so that's on the left hand side of the motor. There's a bolt that's just under the bloody oil filter, or the oil filter covers it, so he's got to get that off now. So that's what he's doing at the moment, bless him. And yeah, just Once we've got that off, we can then start taking the rocker cover off, then taking the cams out, taking the head bolts off, and then move the head into the workshop and have a little crack on there and start rebuilding it. So look forward to that point. I'll keep you updated on camera. And again, thanks for your patience with the kind of choppiness of the video, but hopefully you've learnt some good tips along the way of what you've got to take off if you've got to take the head off. The inlet manifold's just come off. You can see how filthy that is in there, guys. So I'm really looking forward to giving that a good old clean. But that is yeah, disgusting. Gonna be interesting seeing the head. There are all the bolts and attachments for the inlet manifold, so I can go with them there. So it's just a nice way of keeping everything organised, and these are awesome magnetic pots. They've got a magnet on the bottom. You can see they stick to my tailgate. Love it. There's a lot more room there now, Tom, to get the head off, isn't there?
Get the fuel rail off.
So that's the last bit on this section, is it? And that's this long section here. So you've taken off one of the
main
common
feed,
rail,
yeah.
main feed. And then that comes off, and then off of the rocker cover there, does it? All those 4 connectors.
Yeah, and I've already took the return off at the back.
Nice. So what is it, a water pipe?
Yeah, this is the other metal pipe.
Okay.
Just bolted to the back.
Forward to the back of the head. Lovely user-friendly engines, these.
Take the next 10 bits off to get the bit you want off.
The timing chain cover's coming off now. This has all been done by Paul Gate before, so it's got a Duplex timing chain in it.
Down at the bottom, so.
And there she is, Duplex timing chain kit. You're just turning the engine. So the timing, I've just contacted Paul Gate, so thank you again, Paul, just to double check. We're at 6 o'clock down here on the fuel pump, and on the cams there's a dot which lines up on the inside of the head or inside of the case cover. So 2 dots, and one's at kind of 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock, and one's at 1/2 o'clock. So that's the timing for the Navara. This is just drying them bits off so we can put little marks on. The timing is all set correctly now as well, so that's probably something most of you guys will be interested in. The rocker cover is now off, and that's all the injectors and the cams.
Let's give that off.
And the fuel return line. And there's actually one of the head bolts is behind the cam on this right hand side, the furthest back. So that's why it's got to all come off and come out.
We've got to take this out because that pipe's got to come off.
Yeah, of course. And on them fuel return lines, they've got little washers, which we've got to be careful don't fall down as well, haven't we? So go in the rocker cover with everything else. Grab some of the trusty mechanics blue roll.
Put them in the rocker cover. I'll take the washers off.
Yeah.
We don't want to get a bit of that lost in.
No, we'll get rid of the washers.
We'll just put it all in a pile till so we can compare the new bits.
No worries.
Over it and then the other round it.
Okay, so I'll get you a few more. And that's just the tape off the injectors, is it?
Yeah, I'm just wiping any loose oil and crap off it.
Injector's nice and loose.
That's the only tight one. It's a bit of movement in it, so.
Yeah, it's giving, isn't it?
Yeah, you
It's
just
wiggling.
don't grab the plastic bit because you'll end
Game
up with it
over.
in your hand.
There are all the valve covers or clamps. So we've got everything in order here. Injector 1, 2, 3 and 4. And that's all the injector bolts and spacers. and clamps.
Yeah, you push that back till that groove goes below in that hole.
Yeah.
And you put like a pin in it.
Okay.
Then you load it all up and you pull that out, like a bit like a grenade pin.
Okay, that's clever. And that sets the tension.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so it's already preloaded.
Yeah. And it's got a spring in it, so it'll
So you don't have to set the tension yourself.
No.
That's quite good, clever. Unless the spring goes.
Yeah. That one's.
So that goes
Yeah, you can't go right. You've got to go underneath the tensioner and around the rest.
up over the alternator, under the tensioner, around the rest. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah,
Can't really go wrong because then it's
yeah, that's in the middle. The two dots are at the top. And the chain. Yeah, I'll put that in the timing chain cover. So this is the cam sprocket.
Yeah.
And you're just scratching or scribing in for inlet. Nice. So you're just marking all the different sides and numbers for the buckets, yeah?
Yeah, so we know yeah.
It's a good idea. Keep it all organised. Because they have to go in the exact same place, don't they?
Yeah, we don't want to be reshimming. Put these somewhere safe.
Yeah.
They're all in there.
Got some traditional English fish and chips delivered. Already ate the, well, we didn't get fish. Got sausages, but yeah, already ate the sausages. And enjoying the chips.
We'll crack them off by hand and then we'll whiz them out with them.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to chew a bolt up.
No, we'll share it or something. Really, really well. Just the head bolts to do now, and then we're basically ready to take the head off and bring it into the workshop and have a little look, clean up and assess it with the new gasket. I'm surrounded by bits in the back of the truck, but everything's kind of in an organised chaos. So we've got injectors, injector clamps, intercooler pipe to hard pipe, EGR, cam, bucket cover, fuel line, timing chain stuff, manifolds, turbo. So we're getting there. Tom's just cleaning up the cam clamps. So I don't have my tripod or anything, and my other camera's just died, so I'm going to charge that very shortly. But what I'll do is make sure I film once the head's off. We're going to both focus on lifting that off. We don't want to drop it, and we're going to get that straight into the workshop. So we'll catch you up once we're in there. But hope it's been helpful up until now on kind of a rough guide on how to do it, or at least what to watch out for. So yeah, stay tuned. All the bolts are off now.
Yeah, we can have a quick little wiggle. We've got movement.
That's good. Yeah, boy. Nice. Well, I'll come and give you a hand now. We can get that off, I guess. That's the head upside down, just draining out a little bit, and this is the gasket. So that's where it was leaking. And there it is. That's the split in it.
Yeah, the gasket's breached. I'm glad we found the problem, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. It would have been a bit more worrying if there weren't anything evident.
We don't know, like your cook told mate, it looks alright.
That's good.
I'm pretty 99% sure that's fine. We'll have to just pay special attention to this corner.
Yeah,
But
run a straight edge over
it.
it.
So I haven't cooked it.
That's good. Bit of a state in there.
We'll give that a good clean up, mate. That'll look like new when we put that back on.
Brilliant. So underneath all that, it's obviously straight down into the cylinders. And pretty filthy, but fairly clean, nicely polished in there actually. So you can definitely see where it was breaching out there and then trickling all the way back down that little groove, can't you?
Yeah, and then
thermostat's in there, puddling up there.
Yeah, so what we want to do now is wipe any water that might. I don't think much escaped really, did it?
No. I'll give you a hand now, dab that up and we'll get it prepped. That in there just so nothing can get down into the sump.
Keep it all clean.
And then what, just a quick spray over WD on that to prevent rust?
Yeah, I know that's what we're going to do for tonight because
Yeah, absolutely.
we'll go have a play with a head.
That's a good day's work though, I think, Tom.
That's a good achievement, man. I bet you've learnt a few things as well.
I have. I hope you guys have as well on camera. There's the actual breach in the gasket, and it's such a small little area. Such a small little area. But, like Tom said, very good to have found it, because if it hadn't have been so noticeable, we'd be kind of wondering, well, where's the issue come from? So, yeah, happy about that. Thermostat. This should wiggle out. Nice. We got a new one of those to go in as well. Good old day today, Tom. Got a lot done. I'm just going to go drop this down into the back, keep it with all our kind of system of what's what. Keep it all organised. So thermostat behind the water pump, even though I'm getting a new one. I'll just sit them in there and we won't lose them. Just giving head a little clean down before we have a look around it, give it a proper wash.
Yeah, we're going to have to modify the tool.
So Tom's valve spring compressor just isn't quite long enough for the job, so he's going to modify it with a little bit of welding and a nut, a washer and 2 nuts.
Right, mind you,
Yeah,
your eye.
I'm not looking.
For a 10-minute tool.
That's not bad, is it?
I'm just going to tack roll down to that. This is where we find out we made it too long. We'll back that off and we'll check before I weld that bit on.
Yeah, just to see that it clears in the head.
We will have to trim that down a little bit.
Yeah.
And then that's compressed that spring lovely. Then I'm just going to flip these out. There's one. There's 2. Always locate each one. Release that slowly.
Wow.
The first one out. The spring out, and then there is also a spring shim at the bottom of this. The valve will come out the hole.
Hey, look at that.
And then all that carbon and shit will clean off. And just
That's an amazing build up, isn't it?
see the amount of shit on that.
Oh, man.
And then we'll just check the guide for the play. A bit more an accurate check tomorrow. Feels fine.
Brilliant.
And then inside there is the valve stem all at the bottom. You can't really see it because it's all.
No, I see it, yeah.
And then we'll ripple them off, put new ones on.
Brilliant.
Keep everything in order.
I asked Tom what these little bits were, and he was explaining their collets, so go ahead.
There's a spring shim on the base.
Yeah.
That'll be inside the cylinder head. Then
Right.
compress the spring.
Yeah.
And you put the 2 collets in.
Oh, and they clamp either side of that. Yeah.
And then while this is being done, the spring is compressed. It's a bit fiddly because it's oily. And then you release the spring, comes back up, everything's like being held.
Oh, because it's, yeah, clamped on.
Simple,
That's
really.
so clever, yeah. Fiddly though, if you didn't know.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And then I'll take them out one by one. And we'll make a new bit of cardboard for when we've cleaned them up.
Yeah.
You with me? So that is awesome.
Brilliant. That's an awesome idea.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, so that's actually inlet exhaust, but it's on the side of the block.
Yeah, so we'll know what that means.
Yeah, because that's our coding system for everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've got inlet outside, exhaust side outside, so we might as well keep it that way. We know that's exhaust side.
And then we'll get all them out.
Brilliant.
See if all the connects in order.
So yeah, our marks here actually the E and the I, so exhaust and inlet, that just relates to the manifold side, not the actual what each valve is. So that's just so you don't get mixed up. and put all the exhaust, you know, think they're all the exhausts on one side. Get the shims all muddled.
That's it. See, your stem cells are shagged because
they're not holding them.
no.
There we are. So it's worth doing.
Yeah, whites apart. There's not really a lot of some of
Oh my god.
the inlet ones seem better than the exhaust ones.
Right. So it's a good job to do it.
Yeah. Cut the snap-on tools out for this one. They're really ended up on the car. Corner there looks like it's been a little chafing. The gasket's fucked, but you can feel where it's pushed it out a little bit.
So Tom's just rubbing this face down ever so lightly, just to get rid of some of this corrosion and bits of old gunk and everything off there. Get it into a good place to measure. He's just using a flat block with some wet and dry and a bit of 3-in-1 oil on it.
Probably. Coloration on that thing,
Yeah. Is that this? Yeah.
yeah.
Just on that one cylinder.
Yeah, because it's definitely. Not changing much.
Not deviating, no. So we're going to bring it in to get pressure tested and skimmed now over at Headline MK. It's come back all pressure tested and skimmed, and it actually passed, which is really, really, really good. Because obviously on the second cylinder there was a tiny little bit of watermarking which we were worried about, but the pressure test has come out all okay. So it's now got a mirror finish ready for the new gasket to come on. So off of all of the valves, that is just the pile that was removed by a manual removal. So Tom was just scraping it, not scraping the metal on the actual valves, just lightly going along, and then he's going to go on with a wire wheel. But it's amazing just how much stuff was on these, just all on the backs, and mainly on the inlet ones and not the exhaust ones. Big difference.
So what I'll probably do now is just make a fresh build, because them valves need a final wipe.
Alright, and they can go into a clean one.
Crap back into the headers, it's all clean.
Yeah, that makes sense.
As you can see there, you can compare.
That's good and all of them.
You see the difference?
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Just cleans the carbon off. That's amazing.
It makes two together for a perfect seal. Silly not to do it, but this is far into it.
So Tom's just lapping the valves at the moment, so you can see the difference. These are the ones that Tom's done. Got this kind of band all the way around, which corresponds to the back of the valves. And it just means there's a perfect seal. And if you look at that compared to this, for example, which is quite dark, there's no pronounced ring around the edge. Whereas on this you can see that silver line compared. So it's a real fine wipe of engineer's blue, is it?
Yeah.
That micrometer paste or whatever.
Look at that.
See that blue?
We will wipe that first dot off and have another go, just to make sure we didn't have excessive amounts of blue on the valve.
Okay.
We should get the same result. We've got enough on there. There we are.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Blue little tinge to it all the way around, which shows that it's sealing.
Yeah, and that weren't the lapping stage, that's just the check-in.
Just an extra check. So the valves are all in, collets, springs, caps and shims. And we're just about to put on this end plate, which goes on the other
We can't
other
get
end.
to it when we put the head back on.
So that just goes on with an instant gasket. And we're going to be using this, which is Durco HT. That's one recommended by Paul Gate. So stuck well on the timing chain cover, so good enough for this. So that's just making sure it's in the groove nicely. Haynes manual repair, so we're on 2.5 engine,
Probably about 20 meters, I should imagine.
2.5 4-cylinder diesel engine. Cylinder head rear cover, cover to cylinder head 9, 9, 22.
9 and 22?
9 and 22. M6 bolts are 9,
Yeah.
M8s are 22. So it's day 3 of working on the truck now. Yesterday we got the head gasket skimmed and pressure tested. So today it's kind of get it bolted back on, put the new gasket on. So we did in fact get the head gasket put on, the new cylinder head, and everything worked an absolute treat. About 5,000 miles later, there was an influx of water, my temperature started rising, and cylinder 2 had in fact cracked. Like we suspected, there was water damage, and even though it had passed the pressure test, it had failed after the stress of the engine being put onto it. So, join me in my next video, which is coming out as part 2 in this series, to see how I got on fitting a new cylinder head, and I'll integrate some clips and little bits of information from the first session when we installed the first cylinder head, just so we get a whole inclusive video and a how-to guide on how to install a new cylinder head. So thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, stay safe.